Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel Island Daily. My name is Dr. Eamon, and I'm an optometrist. And today we're going to learn about accommodation, convergence, and pupil reflex pathway. So let's get started. So this right here is the diagram of a visual pathway. This is the right eye. This one is the left. This is the optic nerve. This is the optic chiasm, the optic tract, the lateral geniculate body, the optic radiation, and this right here is the visual cortex. And these two nuclei present in the midbrain right here are the oculomotor nucleuses. This one is the pretectal nucleus, and this right here is the Edinger Westphal nucleus, right? So first, we will discuss the most smallest pathway, which is the pupillary reflex pathway. So if you're going to throw lights in the left eye retina will get stimulated, and this efferent pathway will travel from the optic nerve to the optic chiasm and to the optic tract, and to the optic tract it is going to go to the same side of the pretectal nucleus, and this pretectal nucleus will stimulate the Edinger Westphal nucleus of the both sides, right? Now, this Edinger Westphal nucleus will carry this information to the ciliary ganglion, and from the ciliary ganglion, the nerves, short ciliary nerves actually, will travel to the sphincter pupillae, and then the sphincter pupillae will act accordingly. It will cause pupil constriction. So, this pathway was the afferent pathway. This right here was the interneuronal communication happening in the midbrain. And from here, this was the efferent pathway, right? So if we write this all down, in the afferent pathway, what was happening, the stimulus was traveling from the retina. We might take another color. From the retina to the optic nerve to the optic chiasm to the optic tract, and from the optic tract during the interneuronal communication, it was going through the same side pretectal nucleus, right? And the Edinger Westphal nucleus of both sides, right? And in the efferent pathway, from the both sides of the Edinger Westphal nucleus, it was going straight to the ciliary ganglion, and from the ciliary ganglion, the short ciliary nerves travel straight to the sphincter pupillary muscle in the iris, right? Now let's talk about the accommodation pathway. So what happens is that the afferent reflex is going to travel from the optic nerve to the optic chiasm to the optic tract and to the lateral geniculate body and then to the optic radiation and then to the visual cortex, right? And in the visual cortex, it is first going to occur in the Brodmann area 17, which is the primary visual cortex, and then to the area 18 and 19, which are the secondary visual areas, right? So first, it is going to travel to the area 17 and then to the secondary visual areas 18 and 19. And what happens next? Then it is going to go towards the frontal eye field, right? Why to the frontal eye field? Because most of the voluntary eye movements and voluntary convergence is and involuntary convergence is also controlled by the frontal eye field, right? Then from the frontal eye field, it is going to travel to the same side pretectal nucleus and then to the Edinger-Westphal nucleus of the both sides. And then the Edinger-Westphal nucleus will carry this information to the ciliary ganglion. And then from the ciliary ganglion, the short ciliary nerves will carry this information to the ciliary body, and then the accommodation will occur. Now, if you write this whole pathway in a flowchart, it is going to be like this. The afferent pathway is going to be from the retina to the visual cortex, the primary visual cortex, or we can say Brodmann area 17, and then to the areas 18 and 19, which are the secondary visual cortex, right? And then to the secondary visual cortex, it is going to travel to the frontal eye field, right? Now, the interneuronal communication will occur between the same side pretectal nucleus and Edinger-Westphal nucleus of the both sides, right? And then the efferent pathway is going to be the same as visual pupillary reflex pathway, which is from the Edinger-Westphal nucleus to the both sides of ciliary ganglion, and then these short ciliary nerves will reach the ciliary body and the accommodation will occur, right? Now, let's talk about the pathway of convergence. So, in the convergence pathway, the stimulus, the afferent pathway, is going to travel from the retina to the optic nerve to the optic chiasm and to the optic tract to the lateral geniculate body to the optic radiation and to the visual cortex, and then again to the Brodmann area 17, and then to the 18 and 19, and then to the frontal eye field, and from the frontal eye field to the same side of the pretectal nucleus, and then to the Edinger-Westphal nucleus of the both sides, and then straight to the medial rectus. So here, this hole was the efferent pathway, and from the frontal eye field to the epitectal nucleus and Edinger-Westphal nucleus, this was the intraneural communication, and then from the Edinger-Westphal nucleus to the medial rectus. This was the efferent pathway. So if you write it down, the efferent was from the retina to the visual cortex. Interneural communication was from the frontal eye field to the Edinger-Westphal nucleus, right? And the efferent pathway was from the Edinger-Westphal nucleus to the medial rectus. Now, there is one question that I need you guys to ponder on, and that is why the fibers from the Edinger-Westphal nucleus didn't synapse here in the ciliary ganglion. The reason is that in the visual of pupillary reflex and in the convergence pathway, these were the autonomic pathways, right, for the smooth muscles. And in the convergence here in the medial rectus, these are the skeletal muscles, and this is related to the somatic nervous system, not to the autonomic nervous system. This is the key concept why it does not synapse in the ciliary ganglion, right? So, so this was the whole lecture. I hope I have made everything clear. So subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and do share it with your optometry fellows. Thank you very much.